1976 or 1977, and he and Albert Ellis were on a panel in Hartford. They were actually talking about monogamy and long-term relationships. And they both came to the view that it had to deal with maturity. Albert Ellis, of course, took the rational perspective that maturity, it takes maturity to have non-monogamous relationships. Don Bloch suggested that it takes maturity to have long-standing relationships with integrity. And those are the relationships that he's had with all of us throughout the years. He has continued to be with us fully, with generosity, with generativity, and even with love. And at the same time, he's continued to make those relationships exciting by bringing in new people and new ideas.
And do you remember what you did in response?
Well, what I remember is I read over the wingspread material, and that was just the time when the people who were so open-minded to a new way of thinking were more or less available. Not just simply in terms of time, but in terms of affect and...
people were excited about it.
Yeah. And so it was a happy moment when we had a confluence of, so...
Now, I remember you wrote an editorial called The Dual Optic. Remember that?
Yes.
Was that your first editorial? I can't remember, for Family Systems Medicine, or do you know?
I can't say it was the first, but I remember it very well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you remember that I argued with you about it a lot?
Yes.
And do you remember that years later I told you you were right? So that argument was about, so I was busy teaching family physicians how to think about psychosocial medicine and have a systemic lens through which they looked at it. And you were really taking the position that that many situations needed 2 points of view, the medical and the mental health, and combined they provided more stereoscopic vision. And that was very hard for me to listen to when I'm busy trying to train primary care doctors who are going to function, a large part by themselves. And I think over time we refined these ideas, so, in a way, we were both right.
Both right. I remember that. I remember your point of view, and I remember how I was right in a sort of abstract way, but you were right in terms of the delivery of teaching and consultation to these people who were having enough trouble doing what they were doing and trying to teach them to hold two things in mind at the same time with somewhat contradictory perspectives.
Or, to start trying to integrate them. I mean, in a way, later, our friends, maybe we should...
We wanted to talk about people moving into a complex situation and saying, yes, and, as opposed to no, not that.
Yes, right. So it's both and, not either or.
That's right.
And that's easiest to do by having two people who are each proficient in one of those areas but understands how to collaborate with each other. And so a lot of that territory was explored in family systems medicine as you were editor and as you were bringing along many young people like myself in terms of our writing and our thinking. CFHA is in Washington, and it is a policy. It's going to focus a lot on policy. And I think there's just, like I said, a huge amount of interest in how can we promote collaborative care as part of the Affordable Care Act as it gets rolled out. And how can we really try to use this change to improve healthcare for people, and in a comprehensive way, in a stereoscopic
Is
way.
that the one, the next meeting?
Yes.
Joni?
I'm game.
Yeah, that'd be great. That would be
Washington
so
is
great
close.
if you could. Yeah,
We have a new car.
that would be really wonderful if you all could come. That would be a high point for everybody.
Well,
That'd be very exciting. It's in mid-October.
You'll only be 92, Don.
Yeah. Yeah, why?
It'll be okay.
Don't wait.
We'll do it.
Yeah, well, we'll see, huh?
Okay,
Yeah, that'd be great.
I just
From Don, we need to carry forward the sense of wonder, of how can we do it better? How can we find research that's going to support the things that we care about? Secondly, how do we get the voices of the people who haven't always been heard, whether they're families, whether they're other healthcare professionals, and bring them in because we need their voices. Third is, how do we keep those relationships among the people? How do we make them fully collaborative so that everybody feels more valued and that we really can help transform healthcare?
Well, and going to celebrate its 20th anniversary, so that's really something.
on a totally different question. We have a little wine. Can I give you some?
I think we deserve a glass of wine. What do you think?
I think so.
I do too. We'll celebrate CFHA.